The real explanation for why Jay-Z has remained untouched, even as people in his orbit continue to fall, lies within a framework only his earliest inner circle truly grasps. As influential forces in entertainment and government begin to overlap, one individual repeatedly appears to function just outside the blast zone of controversy. That individual is Sean Carter. Based on claims from his once trusted associate DeHaven Irby, the answer isn't about avoiding authority, it's about attaching himself to it from day one. Irby argues that Jay-Z's ascent wasn't driven solely by talent or sharp business instincts. His longevity came from a deliberate method of staying protected by balancing every faction. He made sure to build relationships not only with consultants, but with problem solvers. Figures like Desiree Perez, someone deeply familiar with the workings of the federal legal system. "I can tell you exactly how that talk likely went down," he says. "It was about choosing a side permanently. The message was clear. You're with us now." To DeHaven Irby, this move defined everything. Jay-Z didn't resist the system when pressure mounted. He integrated with it. This, Irby claims, is the political masterstroke. Protection at that level doesn't come from fame or fortune. It comes from relationships with the very people who control legal outcomes and public narratives. And once those bonds are formed, traditional political labels become irrelevant. Power simply works with power. This philosophy, however, came at a deep personal cost. What wounded Irby most happened after he won his own legal battle. He returned expecting at minimum a dialogue with his old friend. Instead, he was met with total unexplained silence. That silence spoke volumes. It signaled that in Jay-Z's world, where federal connections are currency, even cherished friendships become potential risks. Dame Dash, co-founder of Rockefeller, points to a different, more moral fracture. For him, one specific decision revealed an irreconcilable difference in character. It was Jay-Z's choice to collaborate on a major project with R. Kelly, despite being fully aware of the serious allegations surrounding Aaliyah. "How much more of that would you need to see?" Dash asks. "The memory's still vivid." "That was the ultimate wake-up call," Dame states. "If anyone could look the other way from that, they're a sucker." He describes the painful personal conflict, being urged by Aaliyah herself not to make waves, yet being asked to be present during the project's promotion. He respected her wishes, but it forced him to see a partner in a completely new, damning light. "I just realized our moral fabric was different," he concludes. What shocks Dame Dash even more is the
Yeah, when Jay did a project with R. Kelly, knowing that he had Aaliyah. How much more of that? You know what I'm saying? What more would you need? So your supposed best friend, partner, does a project with someone that he knows your partner's girl when she was a child.
Pattern of delayed conscience he sees across the industry. People he observes only find their voice after someone is publicly exposed or arrested. Before that moment of crisis, they remain quiet. They continue to do business. They only distance themselves when association is no longer fashionable. "I say things and call people out before it's fashionable," Dash notes, referencing his early conflicts with figures like Harvey Weinstein. It turns out there was always a reason.
I was surprised it took so long for something to happen, just based on what I was hearing. I was surprised it took so long for people. Like, it was crazy to me that the only time people say they're not fucking with somebody is when they get busted. But if they know it, they still fucking with them. They just don't fuck with them when it's not in style anymore. So that was more my thing. I was like, y'all know what this, when people were still fucking with it. And I was just like...
This perspective of seeing consequences before they arrive is rooted for Dash in a Harlem upbringing that valued character over connections. Knowing when to walk away was a survival skill, and that's precisely why he walked away from Jay-Z. But some believe Jay-Z is now navigating his most delicate walk yet. Why would he seemingly position himself near Sean Diddy Combs as federal scrutiny intensifies? According to Jaguar Wright, a former backup singer within Jay-Z's early circle, it isn't about friendship, it's about controlling the narrative and protecting the system itself. Sean Carter is just as implicated as the others. Wright asserts with conviction, "I've got the scars to prove it." She claims her first-hand experiences reveal a side of Jay-Z that contradicts his polished public persona. The difference between him and Diddy, in her view, isn't morality. It's purely about timing and tactical maneuvering. Wright then expands the lens, questioning the unsettling patterns of how young talent was brought into the industry. She points to the discovery of Rihanna by producer Evan Rogers, a meeting that allegedly occurred in a hotel room at 3 a.m. on her home island without parental oversight. The minor was then reportedly flown to another country and into a meeting with Jay-Z, again without a guardian present. Would you just let your daughter leave for a whole other country with someone you don't know? Wright challenges. The implication hangs heavily in the air. So why intervene now? Wright believes it's the ultimate act of self-preservation. Jay-Z, she argues, is obsessed with his image and legacy. He can't stand being himself for 1 minute, she claims. When someone in your orbit is about to fall, you either get pulled down with them or you strategically manage the distance. He isn't defending Diddy out of loyalty, he's defending the unspoken ecosystem they both helped build and benefit from. Because when one pillar falls, people instinctively look at the one still standing. But Wright proposes an even more unsettling theory. What if Diddy isn't the mastermind, but a pawn? She recalls the strange, almost messianic energy he cultivated, referencing how he would speak of himself. She notes his comparisons to the Son of God and his statements about being lukewarm, while others were hot. This God complex, she suggests, made him a perfect visible target. Her frustration peaks on a crucial point. If this behavior was so reprehensible, why did so many powerful people know and stay silent for decades? The outcry, she argues, only became universal once lawsuits were filed and documentaries aired. Then, Wright points to the symbols, the recurring pyramid imagery, the specific hand signs prevalent not just among artists like those under Roc Nation, but even spotted on commentators outside the courthouse. To her, this isn't coincidence. It's a signal of a deeper, more organized structure at play. If you only look at it from the salacious celebrity stuff, she warns, you miss the much deeper agenda. This leads to the most chilling possibility of all, the leverage of the tapes. Former Diddy security guard Gene Deal clarifies the deafening silence from A-list circles. These individuals have brands and fortunes to protect. They aren't quiet out of ignorance. They're silent out of fear. Fear that they might be on one of those hundreds of recordings. When you don't know you're being taped, Deal explains, and you've got alcohol or substances in your system, your inhibitions disappear. He describes an environment deliberately engineered for people to let down. Those recordings, he states bluntly, are the ultimate insurance. The feds, by possessing them, now hold the keys. They can approach anyone, a favorite pastor, a beloved politician, a megastar, and use what's on tape to secure their cooperation. That, Gene Deal argues, is how true leverage is built in the shadows. It's not about friendship or music, it's about mutual vulnerability, recorded for posterity. And in that game, the last man standing isn't the most innocent. He's simply the one who played the longest game with the most powerful allies and understood one rule above all others. In the end, power always protects itself. If this breakdown of the unseen rules resonated with you, help the channel grow by hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel. We decode the stories behind the stories.
But all this is bigger than Diddy. It's bigger than Diddy, bro. Cause you know who else they was doing investigation on during that whole time period? It was the mayor and the politicians in New York City.